Hello. In Johnny Cash's autobiography, this is what he says about his farm, this land. There's a storm coming at Bonacqua, a big one that's blown all the way from the Pacific over the southern end of the Rockies and on through New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas to the Mississippi, then into Tennessee and straight across the 300 miles of slowly rising, rolling farmland to the little patch of 107 acres that Captain Weems, Uncle Pete, and I have all claimed. And now he says something very interesting. And I have all claimed foolishly as ours. The land doesn't belong to us. We belong to it. Many people ask me, are you the owner of this land? And I'm very cautious what I say in light of what Johnny Cash said. Yeah, I'm a steward of this land, but at some point I'm going to die and it's going to move on, right? God never created land, beautiful land like this, just to keep selfishly. It's to be shared. Now, there's a very well-known Russian story about land. We all need to think about this story. There's a man who loves collecting land. It's his hobby. Sort of like what we do. Wealthy people like to have a lot of properties. You know, 10 bedrooms here, 20 bedrooms there, 16 bedrooms there. It just makes us feel good owning land. I know that feeling. I've had that myself. So he wants to buy this big piece of land. And the seller gives him a very special deal. He said, you can have all the land you want for this specific price, but you got to walk by that land. He says, okay. And he starts to walk. He walks by that beautiful oak tree and the pond, and oh, he sees another patch of beautiful woods, and he walks by that. And he walks by the frog pond and the turtle pond. But he's totally forgotten the time, and he realizes he has to get back before the sun sets. So he starts to run. And just before he comes to the end of his wanderings, he falls flat on his face and he dies. The moral of that story is, how much land does a man need? Pretty much about 12 feet by 6. That's just enough to get buried in. Young people, when you see older people like myself gathering land to ourselves, don't forget, we all need about the same amount of land when we die. There you have it. There's a terrible war going on right now in the Middle East, and I want to talk about it. When I was just a little boy growing up in Japan, my dad used to preach about the future and things that would happen in the Middle East. And almost everything he said came from the Bible, and it's all playing out. This is what I'd like to say to young people. I know you love those festivals and dancing and so forth, but I just feel this is the time not to go to festivals. This is the time to get on our knees and ask God for forgiveness and His mercy and His grace. We've forgotten about Him. We really have. And when you think about the Middle East, the Jews are God's chosen people. And yet, when they sin, They were punished. They went into captivity in Babylon. And of course, Rome had their siege. Then we have the Holocaust, and on and on. Jewish people have been killed through the beginning of time. And yet, when they sinned, God forgave them if they repented and turned to Him. And when they repented, He would bring them back to their land. Well, in our own country, you know Jonathan Edwards? He preached probably the greatest sermon ever given in the United States. This is in 1730. He gave a sermon called Man in the Hands of an Angry God. He knew God was angry because God is a just God and He hates sin. But He's also merciful and kind. And we had the first awakening. That's what we need, a new awakening in America. We have problems not just with Hollywood, but with the church, where people are out there preaching just to gain money. People that are telling the churchgoers, yeah, God told me I need a big airplane. In fact, He told me I need a bigger one. He just told me recently when I went up and had a chat with Him. Are we out of our minds? Now, Hollywood, I'm not going to name names of people, but entertainment has gone crazy. We mock the cross. The cross is just a prop now. A prop for entertainers to lay on and stand on and mock God Himself. Do not forget, God said, it's finished. He's not going back to the cross. If anybody's going to go to the cross, it's us, man. We're going to die and face His wrath. Please. Look, the solution isn't the next election. It's not about Biden or Trump. This is way above their pay grade. It's all about God and what He plans to do. Ask Him for forgiveness. And I think right now when the Middle East is blowing up and little kids are being killed, decapitated, Palestinian children are being killed. Listen, this is not the time to have a big party and talk about breakups. No. This is a time to fall on our knees and ask God for forgiveness. There was a town called Nineveh, and God was going to destroy it, but He sent Jonah there to warn the people. Jonah didn't want to go because he didn't want the people to repent. But they did, and God had mercy. He'll have mercy on us, but not if we keep going the way we're going. Look, God is love. And those out there who are entertaining the youth, listen, it's one thing to dance. It's another thing to take these vulnerable children and pump their heads with ideology that God is against. There's consequences in all of this. And I really fear that God's going to punish America in a way we can't even imagine. But I'm hoping not. But the only way He'll spare us if we get on our knees and ask for forgiveness. That's what I got to say today. I'll be back. Thanks.